Hello Targar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another Orc Mode workout, and this workout is going to be stupidly long. And I tried to trim a lot of these sets down so that we don't have to see me walking back and forth other than on the speed work, because it's a lot. It's a lot, guys. And I still did other training after this. But just a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. You guys have successfully, yesterday, we did keep the likes higher than the dislikes. You guys did a great job with that. I appreciate it. So the dislike bots will probably kick up today. So go ahead and click like before we get further into it. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, as I said in the earlier video today, discuss the speed work a little bit. We're going back to full conjugate type training, which means 2 max effort days, 2 dynamic effort days every week, restoration training in between, and my volume is going to be higher. It's going to be a lot higher than it was when I did this system last year, right? I mean, we stayed on a variation of the system, but now we're fine-tuning it. It's like, okay, we got past 500 box squat last year, then we cracked a 550 squat, back squat, a little high, 615 deadlift after doing all this. Let's come through and do it again. Now we know the weak points. We know what to optimize. I coach a lot of clients on this system who PR a lot. As of right now, I have 6 clients who run conjugate out of my 17. I'm used to working this system for people. Okay, and I have 2 former clients who still run conjugate, right? They just didn't want coaching again after 6 months. They run it still. They're still doing good. But I wrote all their systems. So we have this system down. Notice what we're doing here today. What am I working with? 50% of my max 11-inch box squat. You know, when we start talking percentages, people need to understand some of these percentages, for me at least, and the way I do my guys, are based on the variation we're using. I'm not using my 12-inch box squat or my back squat. I'm using my 11-inch box squat, which we've only hit 502 raw on this at this depth. But look at the depth. Look how deep that is. All right, we're pretty dang deep, and we need to learn to explode from that depth. Now, I am struggling a little bit with the walkouts, I'm not going to lie, because I have been using that buffalo bar, which is wider, and using that wide stance to walk out. Then with the change, I tend to tap the uprights a little bit with the plates on the way out. But also, it's 25% of our max in chain weight. That's 125 pounds of chain. So it's kind of funny, you know, you'll get people who come through who don't understand. It's like, well, you're only squatting like 250 for a box work. Like, yeah, it's 50% of my max on this box. I squat 550. Okay, and that's 125 in chain. So there's a lot of guys out there who could probably box squat 300 pounds. You're not going to do this. This is going to be above your 1 rep max. Okay, for guys who might be seeing that, you say, well, I could box squat off of a parallel box 300 pounds. Well, okay, that's great. You would fail with this weight in this box. But this is speed work. Now, was this as fast as I might have liked? No. I came up yesterday in the benching. My benching is slow. This took me a little bit to get faster, and yeah, it's going to take me a little time to get fast. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut 2 sets each day of the weight, because we're going to do a 5% increase in weight. And that 5% with each week is not 5% of your bar weight, it's 5% of your max. Okay, so there's where the confusion is. It's technically going to be 10% of the bar weight, because if you're at 50% now of your max and you go to 55, you've increased your bar weight 10%, right? 55% is 10% more than 50% if you were to base it off what's on the bar right now. So we go up 5%. I will cut 2 sets. So it's going to be 12 sets, 10 sets, 8 sets. Now, we're only doing doubles on these lifts, so yes, I do the squat and the deadlift on both days. So yeah, it's going to be 12 sets of both. That's why this video is going to be so long. Going to be so long because of that. And I didn't even do as many sets on everything as I wanted to. I just got fatigued for some of the supplemental work, because we're pushing it hard, and these workouts need to be grueling. They need to be taxing. Hey, just like yesterday. Yes, that's a lot of volume. It's a lot of volume, but it has to be. I'm only doing 4 days of training every week, and I have a perfect recovery lifestyle. Okay, and I get deloads. So if I'm only going to train 4 days a week, which is really more or less ideal because it gives me time to rest and grow, I'm going to make them count. We're going to get in and kill it. Now, it's going to take me a little bit to adjust. Some of these, I didn't get as many sets on some of the supplemental lifts today as I wanted because my back and stuff was just so damn tired. I'm going to have to get used to this again. Now, people have also asked, what do your rest times look like? 60 seconds. All right, we don't take 3 minutes between this stuff. You should be able to do all these. The only reason this takes longer than 30 minutes to do both of these, right, is because you have to set everything up. Getting the chain set up, getting the box set up, getting a little bit of warm up in, ramp up, takes a little bit of time. Okay. So it actually took me about 45 minutes to get all the speed work done from the time I started loading the rack up. Because you've got to get everything set, the safeties, get the chains sorted. You know, there's a lot that goes into that. But again, as we noted with this stuff, though, we're going for a larger range of motion. Use the buffalo bar for the closed grip bench to get another inch, inch and a half, okay, for the speed bench. We're doing the 11-inch box for this. I need to build this bottom end power. And that's something we could talk about. People say, oh, well, the accommodating resistance and the speed work is not only for equipped guys. Well, no, not really. Especially when we start increasing the range of motion. All right, we're doing a deep box squat. And we're exploding from that deep position then against the chains. And when you think through the volume, I've made videos on this. We could argue about the dynamic component. We could argue about the dynamic component carrying over to performance because classic lifts, the big three, are not speed strength lifts. What you can't argue is the training volume and the data we have on compensatory acceleration. What you can't argue is the hypertrophic effect. You will grow a lot off of this. So this is 24 reps of quality reps on both exercises. People say, what do you mean? You know, normally your effective reps when you're running 5 reps of failure with slow reps. This is the equivalent of doing 5 sets of failure in terms of hypertrophy. Almost. Rep short, right? Because of the speed component. And people need to realize the lockout, we're working at 75% of our maxes at the lockouts, by the way, once you throw the change in, because it's 50% bar weight, 25% chain weight. Now, this is faster. And I'm not using 50%. People notice that's not 50% of your deadlift max. It's not. It's 50% of my deficit deadlift max. I haven't pulled more than 575 off of a deficit and nailed it and actually hit the lift, have I? Okay, so my 1-inch deficit deadlift is 575. So yeah, I've got half of that on the bar. Then I got the chains. But this is fast. This is explosive. Now, people will ask about the mixed grip. Notice I switch every set. So we did 6 sets with each hand direction. And yes, the other hand direction feels awkward to me because of that old bicep tear, and I will never pull. I'm never going to pull with my left hand supine with a heavy weight. It's just never going to happen. It would probably hurt. But this is speed pulls now. These are fast. This is the only one of my lifts that I can say, okay, this looks like speed work. And it's from a deficit. So let's come back over to that point. We're increasing range of motion. We're going to get powerful out of the bottom. We're going to get powerful out of the bottom. Power. And again, think in terms of the training volumes here of effective reps because of the speed component, the compensatory acceleration, especially against the chains. Adding the extra range of motion on all of these lifts. Every one of these are longer ranges of motion than our normal classic variant. It's a deeper squat than we need. It's well below parallel. Deficit deadlifts. Using the buffalo bar for the close grip so that it's a deeper stretch at the bottom too. Okay. This is going to carry over to not only the raw lifts from that performance elements, but also the hypertrophy. Range of motion helps. Close grip bench on the buffalo bar. Box squat at least 3 inches below parallel. Deficit deadlifts. Then you factor in all the volume. Okay. We'll grow off all this. What else do we get? High sets. It's practice. How many times do I have to set up under a squat bar and get into position to squat? First reps. This week alone, just because of this work, we got 12 first reps on all 3 classic lifts. We had to set up a bench 12 times. Do a first rep 12 times. Same thing with the box squat. Same thing with the deadlift. So there's a lot happening with this. Even if you want to argue that the speed component doesn't matter to the degree that anyone thinks it does because of the type of lifts, what we do have is an enormous hypertrophic potential. We also have a conditioning situation, right? Why? Short breaks, explosive lifts with short breaks, a lot of volume, a lot of work density, get your heart rate up. The deadlifts I take 30 seconds between, by the way. It doesn't matter. I just explode through speed pulls with short breaks. I do 30 to 45 seconds. These aren't a minute. And just come in and just kill it. And yes, it looks a little more awkward when I do the left-hand supine, but that's okay. Right? Yes, I had to adjust the plates a few times, get everything the way I wanted it, because it bounces a lot when you hit that floor. But this was good work. This is quality work today. I'm happy with this. Like, I'm gonna get stronger. Yes, I know I'm about to deload, but quality work. All right, this is gonna get me bigger and stronger, get more jacked. Last time when I did tons of this stuff, I got leaner. You guys do notice I am not as lean as I was 5 months ago. I get leaner when I did all the speed work. I'm gonna see if it happens again. And just, I think the training volumes too. Plus, I'm not eating as much on my off days of training just because I'm not training. I don't want to get up and have training fuel. A lot of times I wait longer to eat breakfast. It ends up being less food. Probably help. Probably drop a little body fat again without really having to focus on doing it. Because I just want to get strong at this point. I can cut later. I'm just making a note. Don't be surprised if it happens again, because it happened last time. People noticed it. The speed work was great. My back was really, really lit up from the speed pulls, though. My whole T-spine. Think again because of the change and then from the deficit. So I only did 4 sets of these. And I felt like I could have done a 5th because I did my normal weight that I did five sets of last time. And I want to increase this weight. But after the 4th set, my low back started like almost cramping from fatigue. It's just like, man, and it's not painful. When I say a cramp, I'm not talking about a sharp pain where it's an injury. I'm talking about it was fatigued and my low back starts kind of cramping and saying, okay, that's probably all we can handle. And, you know, 4 sets is very good effective volume, especially for my supplemental work, because that's, again, 12 speed pulls, 12 speed boxes. That's a lot of work for your back and legs and posterior chain. So some of this was a little hard. Like today, these were hard. Some of these I was having to kind of really dig in to get to the 15 reps, you know, so they were challenging. I could not have done a few more reps. In other words, I'm having to breathe and kind of pause for a second on the last couple reps each time. So again, we got good work out of this. And normally, like I said, after a max, I do 5 sets of these, right? And that's what I've been doing last couple workouts after a 1 rep max. But after the speed squats and the speed pulls, that's a lot of work. My back is more fatigued. And again, we're doing this as largely a back exercise. The hamstrings are obviously involved, posterior chain involved, but this variation, because again, I'm rolling my back at the top, like rounding the back at the top, using the safety bar. This is, again, the way we specialize a little more on our T-spine and thoracic erectors. The erectors all up the top half of the back, because those need to come up. They're weakness for me on my big lifts. So we've got to work on them. We've got to improve. We've got to get better. So that's what this variation is for. And it still works the hamstrings and glutes. I don't want people to think that it doesn't work the lower body, because it does. It's just we have a slight emphasis the other way, but we'll do other hamstring work. And it's not like the other stuff didn't hit my hamstrings. Box squats, deficit speed pulls. Deficit hits your hammies. But yeah, we got to get in and get thick, get strong, get powerful, get that speed back up. So yeah, volume is deep today. We still have like another 8 minutes of video. So, wow. These 12-minute workouts are gone as far as just the training footage. So I'll have to work back up to trying to do 5 sets of these on speed days, but a lot of my lifts I'm going to be sometimes limited to 3 or 4 sets. I was surprised I was able to get all 5 sets of rows, because they were a pain last time. because the next day after doing the inverted rows, it was really a problem. Today it wasn't, surprisingly enough. So my lats were not destroyed from all this. My lats are fine. But after these, I've got a minor issue with the glute ham raise. I've noticed I started tearing one of the pads and I flipped it around today. I'm going to order new pads from Titan to sort that out. They're not terribly expensive. Unfortunately, they're easily replaceable, but I flipped one around. You guys will see kind of the tear there. And I moved myself to a harder setting. Why does that matter? Because I could get 12, and now I'm at basically about the hardest setting I can do because my knees are almost on top of the pads, right? When I am extended all the way at the bottom, which you guys will see, I don't have much thigh on those pads. Now they're really hard. Fortunately, I got really strong. Just the last setting that was only like 2 inches further back, I got up to sets of 12 last time, right? We got 4 sets of 12 and a set of 10, I think. But of course, I'm more fatigued today after this other work. But the beauty of it, you know, we get in to do it, and I was able to get 10. Now, even with this harder setting, I guess it's going to be about the hardest setting I can do because I can't get into the dang device. I can't even get my leg in between now. So, again, as you guys see, my knees are clearly up on the pads, well up on the pads. Not quite to the very top, but pretty damn close. So, this is going to be a very hard setting. And yes, this worked the hell out of my hamstrings. And after the good mornings and other stuff, my hamstrings are so tired after all the other work. But we got to get in and do these. I managed to get 2 sets of 10 and then a third set of 8. And it's like, if I'm struggling with 8, and I missed a rep basically, I had to grab the thing. I couldn't do a 9th rep. Okay. So I got 10, 10, 8 and hit failure. Like right there too, that was almost failure. Did you see that? That was rep 10. All right, these are hard on this setting, and we're going to get stronger at it. I need to get to where I can do like 5 sets of 12 on this setting, right? That's what we need to do, and we'll get there. We've been working it to the harder and harder settings, but this won't tear the pad up as bad. I was able to use this pad there today. Like I said, I'm going to have to replace that one. But because I'm not pushing against the front of it as hard, because that's what a lot of it was, and my knee was hitting down on the base of it, and that's what was tearing some of it away, where you see that tearing, and my knee was rubbing all against that, and that didn't help when I had it set on the easiest settings for a long time. So it won't get destroyed as easily next time. One of the downsides of this model, it's a good budget model. Like, it's only a $400 glute ham raise, which is phenomenal considering the construction. The pads are a little bit problematic. I think they're not very durable, but they're like 33 bucks a piece for each one. So if you do tear one, it's not the end of the world. Even if you buy a couple spares to have, it's still going to be cheaper than a lot of the glute ham devices. That's the only thing I would knock about it. But I mean, if you think about it, for the price compared to some of these $800 and $900 ones, that's such a minor difference. And yeah, I do care about price in my gym, guys. I threw a massive investment on all those plates up front. My plates are worth thousands of dollars, by the way. That at a certain point, man, I just don't want to throw thousands and thousands of more. So I mean, if I can get a good device that will meet my needs for 400 instead of 800, I mean, I'm going to do it. So yeah, pads were the only complaint, but those were challenging, and my hamstrings were shot. It's like I don't think I could have done another set. It would have been like 6 reps. The rows, though, again, even with the heavier weight, we got all our sets of 15. Couple of them we got without regripping. I think the first 3. Now, my back was pretty well finished after this. These axle bar strict Pendlay rows, trying to do them strict, did finish my lats. And keep in mind, I'm always going to be fatigued when I get to this stuff because we just did speed pulls, which really hit my back. We did the good mornings with the safety bar. My back is fatigued, so, and especially having done the inverted rows yesterday, but they weren't as bad as they have been. So I didn't really have the same DOMs today, so that was a good sign. So I was able to do my normal, predictable work on this time. Last time I had to stop at 3 sets. My back was cramping. We got all 5. Okay, we got all 5. God, this is a lot of work. It is a ton of work, and I'll also do at the end because people said, hey, can you do some reverse hybrids? I haven't been doing heavy on my reverse hybrids. I've been doing sets of 20 to 30, okay, with fairly lightweight. Now, they usually recommend you do sets of 10 with 50% of your max squat. So I did 50% of my max squat and did sets of 10 on it today. I haven't been going that low. I've been doing really high reps. So I thought, let me go ahead and put it on camera, do it as part of this workout. Because a lot of times I do 20 to 30 rep sets with a lighter weight on all my off days. That's my restoration work. So I threw in some of the reverse hyper at the end, and that's going to push this video well past 20 minutes. I put 3 of my sets in. After the rows, and people are like, oh, there's no curls today. No, there's no curls today. I'll do some band curls later. It just got to a point, I have so much stuff in here just to throw some curls in on camera when I can do some band curls off camera. And we did barbell curls yesterday after the inverted rows and all that. Then I'll do some later, not a big deal, because I'm gonna do some other grip training and stuff. Some grip and maybe some abs. And I got to do my neck because of the safety bar. Good mornings, they press on it. I've got to keep strengthening it so I don't get so dizzy. But yeah, that said, it was obviously a little more rest pausey at the end. I couldn't just knock them straight through. And then, well, this other set too. So basically the last 2 sets, they're getting challenging. The last couple reps, I'm having to do a little rest pausing to get my target numbers. But I got them. We got them again today. So that's good. We're adapting to all this volume. We're adapting to the frequency of doing lat work on all 4 workouts. Because that's been a difficult thing for my lats to handle. But we have to do all the upper back work. So even though the other day is a little more upper back oriented, it still carries over to the lats and it creates fatigue. And again, I've done so much posterior chain work that I have to maintain isometric strength there, that the rowing can be a little difficult. Fortunately, I use the axle bar, so it lets me use a lighter weight because of the grip. Now, we did these, and yes, I'm sorry, guys. My feet are dirty on the first set. People are going to complain. I just did all the stuff on that black grippy surface. That surface is grippy, and I did all those rows barefoot. I always have to wash my feet after I train on that. And a lot of times when I lay down, I go wash my feet before the camera gets back on. So if I do floor presses or something, I actually do that, and I totally forgot on the first set, and then I realized it. I'm like, I'm not going to take it off. I went and washed them for the next one. But people actually complain about stuff like that. And they're like, oh, your house must be dirty. So, you know, guys, it's the mat. I just mopped this week. I just mopped in here. I promise you it's not filthy. I mopped. Look, the floor's all nice and shiny. I just mopped. So, they're clean here. Sets of 10 with about 50% of my max. Now, some people can argue, oh, I don't think you're doing these right. I really don't care what you think. I've talked to people who use this thing. I've talked to people like Clint Darden. He's a good guy. I've looked at what all the West Side guys do with it. I feel it amazingly well. It feels great in my back, so I really don't care what you think. So people just wanted to see what it looks like. And yes, I don't want you guys to have to stare at my butt crack, so I took the shorts off and put sweats on to make it more comfortable for everybody watching this time. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.